Good evening, good people of YouTube. Welcome to the Brews at 10 on my left eye. I'm your host, Lefty. You're all very welcome here on the stream this evening. Solidari-Tea. Yes, finally. A bit late in the week for the first live stream of the week, but good to be with you. Shockingly busy, but we have been putting content out, so hope that you've been keeping up with that. A new video went public this morning. My little rant to the BBC, which I will be extending this evening on the stream. That was a mere drop in the ocean, what's in the video. I could go for hours on that one. But very good to be with you this evening. Okay people, let's brew this thing. So we had Heddy, who was first in the chat this evening. Great to see you as always, Heddy. Also, Flow Snake. How are you flowing this evening? Dominic Jones, Aaron Gray, great to see you. JK. A very warm welcome to everybody this evening. Thanks for the Palestine flags and watermelons early on in the chat as well. More on Palestine and Gaza to come, of course. That's also intertwined with my critique of the BBC. There is more coming up. There have been some breaking stories just before, not too long before I came on stream this evening. That also intertwines with Gaza and Palestine as well. Some breaking news: the United States are going to stop Palestine from being represented at a United Nations meeting. Yes, you heard that right. Did someone say full swing fascism? So I will be talking about that, as well as Blair's little visit over to the States as well. Domestically, of course, today there was the ruling in courts that the ban on housing asylum seekers in hotels has been temporarily lifted, which is a bit of a kick in the balls for the old roundabout artists. I call this one Fragile Masculinity circa 2025. They are true artists. More Palestine flags coming in as well. Awesome stuff. And just as I say that, Graham Turner drops in as well. Solidari-Tea. And another Palestine flag there. Of a different fashion. So where was I? Yeah, just going through what's coming up on the stream. Quite a bunch more. So clips, articles, the usual stuff, just a bit late in the week. So I do like to do at least 2-3 live streams a week. That is Brews at 10 streams, as well as the Sunday live stream, of course, so apologies for the hectic schedule. But I should say thank you very much for all of your comments on recent content. I can see some Familiar names from the comments as well. G-Rekp, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Solidarity to you from the UK. Join us in the chat from Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Solidarity there. It's good to have an international audience here on my left eye. A good point there, Aaron Gray. Perhaps one nation who might hate fascists even more than we do in the UK. Of course, the Netherlands have a strong reputation for that. I have visited Amsterdam myself, actually. A beautiful city. So solidarity. Always good to know when people are joining us from outside of the UK. You can do that in the chat if you're listening, watching live. Or in the comments if you're watching back later on. But if you aren't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe. That way you can join the live chat. There's other benefits, of course. Help to support the channel. But I should just say, I've pointed this out in a few comments recently on videos. Quick technical updates. These things happen with YouTube. I just remind people to double check whether they are already subscribed or not before you press the button, because the subscribe button itself is now multifunctional. That is, the join, what used to be the join button, which just said join with a plus sign next to it, I believe, has now vanished. It depends which country you are watching in, I should point out as well, by the way, but just double check if the subscribe button has been updated, lest you accidentally unsubscribe, and we wouldn't want that, would we, people? So I think it's now you hover over it and there's some options come up. One of those is to join the channel as a member, and it's around about this time on the streams that I always give a shout out to the marvellous members on the channel. Solidarity, everybody, thank you very much for all of your support. Thanks as always to people who've gifted to others and renewed their own memberships. Amongst this list, you'll find some who've been members since we started doing streams, since the very beginning of the Brews at 10. But whether you've just joined recently or you're a, well, the channel's not that old to say legacy member or whatever, but no, seriously, thank you very much, everybody. And we are, well, I may as well just put it up. Still over the 100 mark, on 111 out of the current target, the goal of 250, so thank you very much, everybody, for helping the channel get towards that target. Without further ado, I'll also bring you good viewers into the conversation. Let's make a minor logo adjustment there. That should be updated and live. Live on the screen, let the people be seen. Sorry, that was too cheesy radio voice bits very close together there. I'll keep an eye on that. Graham Turner, thank you very much for celebrating 8 months of standard membership. Yeah, it's been great to have you watching and your support, as always, is very much appreciated. Thank you, Graham. Big up Graham in the chat, please, people. One of the benefits of joining the channel is you'll get plenty of shout-outs. You certainly won't be short of those. But also exclusive content, early viewings, as per the last video, which went public today, but was available yesterday, members first. Well worth the fraction of the price of a tasty beverage, that is the 99 pence that it is per month. Can you even get 2 snacks, let's say? A snack bar, chocolate bar, candy bar, depending on where you're from, and a bag of crisps, which is the proper name for potato chips. You can't even get that for 99 pence now, can you? Well, arguably, you still get the super cheap spirals or whatever. But let's not bicker, it's just a fraction of the price of a tasty hot beverage. That is undeniable, people. And thanks again, Graham. Another great show of solidarity there with that super chat. And certainly worth throwing the extra Palestine flags in there. Solidarity with Palestine, as always. So double big up, Graham. That's an awesome start to the stream. I'll try and segue as smoothly as I can between the different topics, but it's quite a hodgepodge of different things. The comedy clip's coming up first, but then we'll just quickly go into that court decision about the hotel ban. And thence we might tangent, but we'll see where we go. Because the first clip does surround this recent flag stuff and roundabout painting, of which there are some quite comedic examples. And this latest one from Exploding Heads, which of course features the famous Colin from Portsmouth, is no different. Just before we do though, another shout out, Dominique Jones with a gifted membership. So Patrick Westmore, please do enjoy your perks. And it will be my pleasure to update the membership goal to 112 as well. Thank you very much, Dominique. Merci beaucoup. Without further ado then, people, let's hear the latest rantings from Colin from Portsmouth.
Colin from Portsmouth is on the line. Hello, Colin.
30 years ago, we let children roam the streets. Now they're not allowed out of the house. That's why the values of this country have been eroded, all because of paedophiles.
Good morning, Colin, and happy birthday to you. Hope you're having a lovely...
60 years ago, you couldn't spell pedo, let alone be one, and that all changed under Tony Ruddy Blair. Do you know, pedo is the most spelled word in the English language. That's not a coincidence, is it?
Well, apart from in America where they spell it differently, don't they, Colin?
We've got a lot to learn from America, I tell you. Thank God for Trump, draining the swamp of sex offending.
How are you celebrating your birthday, Colin?
Stripping all this lead paint off the walls.
Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, fair enough.
And replacing it with more lead paint, specially sourced from Russia. Just to own the snowflakes. And I painted a St George's Cross on a roundabout last weekend.
Yes.
What have you done for the nation?
Absolutely right. I saw that. It looks a bit diagonal, Colin. I saw the photo. It looks more like a Northern Irish flag to me.
Yeah, I was going to do a Union Jack, but I didn't have any blue.
Sorry to interrupt the comedy clip, but we've seen some other examples as well that I mentioned. They got the colours the wrong way around, inverted the flag so that it resembles either the Swiss or the Danish flag, depending on whether it's more of a rectangle or a square and where the cross is, but they really are messing a lot of them up. I've seen several examples of England being spray painted next to the roundabouts, zebra crossings. The white bits of zebra crossings have had them done and so on. Written England, but instead of the D, they've written it with a G. England. Just one example of a litany. It's embarrassingly poor, people. Just to explain for anybody who's not from the UK, who's not familiar with this story, it's part of this Raise the Flags, is it called, campaign that the far right are doing. Apparently it's to deter migrants, but it's quite petty and pathetic, to say the least.
Waiting for some from Russia. What's wrong with a Northern Ireland flag anyway?
It's like a Northern Irish flag to me.
Yeah, I was going to do a Union Jack, but I didn't have any blue. Waiting for some from Russia. What's wrong with a Northern Ireland flag anyway? And that's the problem, in a nutshell, with you metropolitan Starmerites. You hate the thought of us owning a part of another country. I'm for a Chagos flag next. Anyway, mate, thanks for having me on. Love to the family.
Love to the family, Colin. Love to the family. You going out for your birthday then?
Yeah, to a National Trust property and taking my own scones.
Exploding heads. People. He's going to a National Trust property and taking his own scones. That's the bready, sweet sort of afternoon tea accompaniment that we have. Depending on which class you're from, I guess. I can't really remember the last time I had a scone personally. Do go and follow the Exploding Heads on the YouTubes, people. And we got Morbius in the chat. How you doing, Mo? Graham, yeah, there you go. That's what the Patriots are drawing on the roundabouts, which Aaron Gray correctly mentions is illegal under the Highways Act. I've been charged under the Highways Act, but I've actually never been convicted. Been charged on multiple occasions, it has to be said as well. But not like this, not for this. Well, it's defacing signage, obviously, road signs and whatnot, zebra crossings, roundabouts. Are there for safety reasons. A flag over a bridge is one thing. But anyway, good point there, Aaron. It is illegal. For the record, the counts that I had were willful obstruction of the public highway. Not a few of those. Dominic, yeah, England. I-N-G-L-U-N-G. This is England. Why don't you go back where you came from? Said the person living on an island without any sense of irony whatsoever. And don't say that you were all here when King Doggerland was still above sea level. Absolutely not. And as for this Anglo-Saxon stuff, do you just want to completely ignore everything that's happened since? So it's fairly recent. Where are my notes here? What's that? Historical event from British. It's written down here somewhere. Ah, there we go. Thanks, Phil. That would be the Battle of Hastings in 1066. Normans much? I don't know. Let's dive into that further then with the first article. On the ruling today, I think it came out about 2 PM. Won't play the announcement, just go over the major points. I consider this to be a good thing. I'll get that out there straight off the bat. And I'll go into why as we skim through the article. And I can't believe I've gotten 24 minutes into a stream before I've asked you to hit the thumbs up button. I mean, Phil just kept putting the thumbs up. I just thought it was going really well, and then he was just waving it. Phil's mute. It's not a... It's a protest, I think. He definitely exists. Yes, irony. Well, it is because there is a live feed reporting. I will be slagging off the Beeb momentarily. But for now, let's take a look at one of their articles. That's the judge. He's reading something, don't worry, he's not falling asleep, which was my first take on it when I... Oh, what? The verdict, Your Honour? Oh, thank you, bailiff. Well, it's a load of fucking bollocks, isn't it? No. I won't play that, but... It didn't sound anything like what I just did, by the way. So this, of course, concerns the hotel in Epping in Essex. Initially, it was decided that after a complaint from the hotels that they couldn't house asylum seekers, but now the ban has been lifted temporarily. Should emphasise again. There were 140 apparently exclusively men staying at the Bell Hotel, and they were previously ordered to leave by mid-September. So they are still there now. They've not been thrown out whilst all this legal debacle's going on. They mostly do just stay in the hotels, apart from to go to the markets and things. They get a very small amount of money with them not having national insurance numbers, which is our social security numbers here in the UK. They don't get free houses, cars, whatever else Farage and Tice and Yaxley Lennon might try to convince you that they do. Of course, the Tories consider this a setback. Me not being one to congratulate the current government far too frequently, but this is a win for them. But I think it's also a win for common sense, because if the ban was to be upheld, then without a doubt the knuckle draggers, the roundabout artists, would see that as a win. And how did they get their win? Well, just over a year ago, They made serious threats to people in hotels. Some of them were imprisoned for stirring up racial hatred online, and rightly so in my opinion. There are also hotels that were set on fire, which I think is absolutely despicable, as well as the other far-right protests which took place. Of course, I was at one such counter-protest just over a year ago. For anyone who's fairly new to the channel, please do check that out. That was over in Bolton. So therefore, with those tactics in mind, that is what they would use again. And therefore any hotel, or whether it be something else that they were indifferent about, I've used the term broadly, indifference, these far-right racists. But that would be their modus operandi henceforth. So you cannot give license to that. You cannot give license to that. To validate that form of air quotes protest, I think would be most irresponsible. So I believe that the judge has made the correct decision. This will be formalised on Monday, I believe. So for now, common sense has prevailed. Oh God, it's Angela Eagle. So you could have warned me. Why wasn't there a warning? I should have put that in the letter. Oh, it's too late now. I have to write another letter to the BBC, email, whatever. So that was Lord Justice Bean, who led a panel of 3 judges. He found the previous High Court decision relied on a number of errors, including ignoring the obvious consequence with regarding to asylum seeker accommodation capacity more widely. Today's ruling means that asylum seekers no longer have to leave the hotel by the 12th of September, and it does not, however, constitute a final decision, with the case which is due for trial later in the year, this October. So not too far away, people, as we come towards the back end of the last couple of days of August in this, the year 2025. If you are watching back from much later, much further into the future, then yes, we are aware of what needed to be done back here now. Not just on this far-right issue in the UK, on everything else, but we're doing our best. Why is Angela Eagle? Obviously, she's the asylum minister. Shudder at the thought of being forced to agree with Angela Eagle. But she's happy with the decision as well. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, get out your small violins and your big tissues for those roundabout artists. I call this latest piece my divorce. She is not going so well. Did sell it for a crate of Carling. Other shit beers are available. That's just about as far as I'll go into that myself. I'll have a quick look at what you're saying in the chat. Of course. Graham Turner, you'd like to see the painting of roundabouts prescribed. Interesting. Aaron Gray, jumping in with a technical point there. The Highways Act 1980 prohibits placing unauthorised marks on highways through its section 132. This section makes it an offence to apply any mark, picture or sign to a highway's surface. It does. I'm more familiar with section 14 myself. You can look that up for at your own leisure, I should say, at your earliest inconvenience. Doc Davies is in the house. How you brewing? Great to see you. Morbius, thanks for that insight. From Bermondsey in London, it's festooned in St George's flags year round. It's often called the most patriotic estate in the country. So it's not true that folk are not allowed. Well, not concerning the flags, just the specifically zebra crossings and roundabouts. Won't somebody please think of the zebras? I looked into this on your behalf, people. Turns out they're made of tarmac, not actual zebra. I do take back that letter that I wrote to the council. A bit embarrassed about that one. So many of the people on the Kirby estate are migrants as well. Morbius points out. I should also, excuse me, I should also point out that you should go and check out Morbius's YouTube channel, especially for any horticultural members of the audience. So that's Kirby, not to be confused with Cakeby on Merseyside. Very far away from one another. I've been to Bermondsey in London myself. That would have been a few years ago. Went to do a couple of workshops there, it was actually. I was just there for an afternoon. Well, a few afternoons, I should say. But tangent alert, let's not get distracted, because also all thanks to James Holmes and Hedy Lukill, who are celebrating 7 and 16 months of membership respectively. Thank you very much for your support on the channel. JK, that's correct. I don't have any mods at present. But we do have Phil and, of course, the IT repair recovery primates. And so far, so good. On the recent overhaul as well, I should point out. Okay, people. Almost 50 in the chat. Good stuff. In fact, I'll just scroll over to the stats. Okay, make sure you hit thumbs up as you enter, people. Gonna skip on to a separate subject now. Thanks for your feedback on that topic, by the way. Okay, I've decided we'll go with the extended BBC bashing. And another thing, as David Mitchell might say. Well, it's more than one other thing, actually. So today's video, which came out earlier, mostly concerned the reporting on Gaza since late October 2023. Of course, if you've not seen that, please do check it out. I've got a little bit more to say about that, as well as other areas that, well, you might call concerning when it comes to the BBC's reporting, or do you say bias? Well, I did dare. Hence the latest episode about the letter to the Beeb. First of all, though, it's not just my left eye that takes issue with the way that they're reporting. Check this out from Dr. Nick Maynard, who recently appeared live and managed to stay on long enough to actually call out the BBC properly. It's a really good job, this. Yeah, let's see what's happening, people. This is Nick Maynard.
The Israeli military, as you probably heard me say there, the IDF, have said they are going to investigate. They do not intentionally target people who are not involved in the conflict.
Well, I hope the BBC will acknowledge that those statements hold no weight at all these days. Those statements saying they are not responsible, they have not meant to do this, has not been borne out by any of the multiple witness statements coming out from healthcare workers and many other people coming out from Gaza. These are deliberate acts. They have been deliberately targeting hospitals. They have been deliberately killing healthcare workers. They have been deliberately abducting and detaining illegally and torturing healthcare workers. So those statements mean nothing to me, and I would hope sincerely that the BBC will recognise that as well.
Well, we're just reporting what the Israeli Defence Forces have said. And they're also, of course, as you will know, they have said many times in the past that hospitals in Gaza have been used by Hamas.
Like I pointed out in the video, that is the problem. You are just saying what they have said. It's just parroting what is obvious lies, just regurgitating propaganda, which is not how you inform people. And again, this is exclusive to this topic. If they were reporting on, I don't know, a burglary, they want to, oh, but the burglar said he really needed to break into the house, and didn't intend to damage any glass, and is looking into it himself. Shocking. So, whoever goes on, the presenter is the conduit for, the eye of Israel that can send its message across the world without even being present, because it knows that the BBC will do that for them. And yes, I do regret not mentioning BBC in the letter. In hindsight, it was something I realised about half an hour after I'd sent it and uploaded the video. But if I do get a reply, I'll put that in my counter response.
Hamas for military purposes.
Yes, and the BBC will also know that they have interviewed multiple healthcare workers from this country and others who have said there is no evidence whatsoever to support those claims. And indeed, the BBC will also know that the evidence provided by Israel has not been remotely verifiable and not remotely credible. So I think...
And that is exactly the case. And where reporting is concerned, again, you're supposed to be reporting the truth from reliable sources. I don't know how much a researcher makes on BBC News, but perhaps it might be a little bit too much.
I think that needs to be acknowledged publicly by our media.
It does need to be acknowledged publicly. Well, here we are on the second biggest platform on the planet now, after the BBC. Apparently, congratulations to YouTube on reaching that achievement. And I think the algorithm gods really are great. I don't know about you guys, people, but let's big up the algorithm gods. Great people. Great gods, yes, great deities. And a lot of people argue that journalists come into the complicity of war crimes, especially state journalists, that is. I didn't bring that up in the letter to the BBC, but it is something that's been on my mind. And, well, there is evidence, of course, that they've repeated a lot of propaganda.
Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
Rank hypocrisy as well. Because when you look at these two people, former Match of the Day host, Lineker restricted, but Rylan on the right, I think was on the BBC today, just again with the right-wing rhetoric. The false associations between crime and migration. This kind of BS. Unfortunately, but yeah, he gets completely unrestricted speech. Gary Lineker speaks out about an ongoing genocide. And they're like, oh, you shouldn't be talking about politics. Shouldn't be political. Well, screw that. So you can add rank hypocrisy to the list of offences there. And if you're anything like me, people, sometimes you might open the BBC webpage and the selections that they've used for the highlighted main stories don't exactly paint a great picture either. Just slightly away from the topic of Gaza here, but this was one from the other day, and I couldn't help but take a screenshot now. Obviously, the main story there, the utter hyperbole over, well, let's be frank, a party that you can fit into a car, announcing its mega plan on migration, platforming the likes of Farage yet again. And then in the second article that you can see on the right, how reform has changed the debate on migration. Well, the BBC have certainly done the part, haven't they? No, it's either 4 or 5 seats. It's difficult to keep up because some of them keep having to step down and whatnot. But it is 4 or 5. You could fit it into a car, like I said. And this prick has appeared on Question Time no fewer than 39 occasions. 39 occasions. Now, even after the trashing that the Scottish National Party took at the last election, they still have more seats in the UK Parliament than Reform. And how many times do you see them on Question Time? Jeremy Corbyn has been on it once. Zara Sultana has never appeared on Question Time. Well, just once again, the prick that you can see on your screen has been on it 39 times. I think that's catastrophic. That's not balance. They're basically an advertising agency at this point. The way this is going, the Reform Advertising Agency. So who cares about this ridiculous notion of deporting 600,000 under migration plans? I've got news for Nigel. There aren't even 600,000 migrants in the bloody country. It's about 110 or something. They've also not said where they're going to go to. It's just very vague. They've thrown this number out there because they think it sounds impressive, 600,000, and that gets to appear as the main story on the state broadcaster. How does that happen? Again, does a researcher get paid? What's the incentive? And then just slightly away from politics there, you can see on the right too, rich people are getting married, or joy. Let's celebrate. And it's not in this screenshot, but if I remember at the time, if I was able to scroll down, you'd see a couple of stories about Kate. That's always what they pull out, isn't it? Oh, something's going quick. This is what Kate thinks about the thing. It might be in countenance to maybe something that Meghan Merkel said or something. Yeah, but come on, this is just so poor from the Beeb, just sticking with the issue. And then later in the day, I think it was, or perhaps the day after, there was a separate article, a different article. One of those ones with a question as the headline. And it was like, how come, it was basically them saying, how come Reform are in the news so much? It's like, self-awareness much? So that's, yeah. Also, Sinn Féin have got more seats in Parliament. How often do you see them? If you're talking about balance. And they'll mention the polling, of course they'll mention the polling. But this is around 4 years from the next election. And you have to take polls with a pinch of salt. However, polls do also say that 20% of voters would go for the new Your Party. But I'll remind you, where Question Time's concerned, Farage 39, Zara Sultana 0, Jeremy Corbyn 1. But between the Beeb and Labour, they're handing it to this... Make sure I use the right adjective here. motherfucker who currently leads the Reform Party. Why don't the BBC refer to, say, a recent list of Farage's bright ideas and what they've done for this country, how they've gone in the past, if you can think of any of specific significance? For example, leading the single market and the customs union. Oh yes, that went on like forever, didn't it? Since then, of course, he's tried to argue that the fashion in which we left was not in the way that he envisaged and someone else fucked it up. It just wasn't generally a bad idea in the first place. But this is somebody who doesn't have a very strong track record when it comes to plans on, well, I was going to say a macro scale, but on any scale at all, really. Medium, micro. When it comes to the crunch, he's taking the public for a ride. He's your classic grifter. He's your classic far-right grifter, in the sense that he's taking a lot of campaign money, obviously, whilst pretending that he will represent the common working class of the United Kingdom should Reform get into power. However, this is a multimillionaire. This is a stockbroker who banks at the same bank as King Charles. Still does, because he complained when he was asked to leave the bank. Apparently no longer qualified for just how sick-ass rich you have to be to have an account in Coots. He whined like a child, but the point remains, this is not somebody who wants to represent working class people. Most worryingly of all, he is of course in favour of taking the UK out of the European Convention on Human Rights, as well as adopting an insurance-based US-style healthcare system instead of a socialist publicly funded National Health Service. That meme's the wrong size, so I'll take it off. Just put that one back up again. What is this? Well, it's piss poor, that's what it is. Let's just answer my own question there. Money, money, money. Always sunny in the rich man's world. Absolutely correct there, JK.
Damn right!
So I was stunned to open the main webpage the other day and see that one.
What?
What?
Okay.
What?
What?
You gotta be f***ing kidding.
Moving on, people. Ever forward. Just having to scroll through a few bookmarks here. So much to choose from. Before I move on to other areas of Gaza, just a little notification for anybody who didn't spot this story yesterday, I think it was. UK politics, this is. So Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrats, who coincidentally also they do have more seats than Reform, but this wasn't. I don't know if this was the main story at any point yesterday. So he's going to boycott the state visit over Gaza. Well, there you have it. He's trying to send a message to the US president over the humanitarian crisis there. He said it went against his instincts to decline an invitation from the king, describing this as an honour. That is Sir Ed Davey. Interestingly enough, though, would you describe this as a slight towards the king as well? Ultimately, it would be King Charles who invites guests, not Donald Trump. But however, through the king, he's trying to send a message, and just by coincidence, they don't call him Sir Ed Davey until the second paragraph. Oh, it's in the first paragraph there, actually, I should say. It's not in the headline. I'm nitpicking there. So this is the first time that a second state visit by a US president will have ever happened. All the more reason to be disappointed. This followed a diplomatic offering when it was Keith's first time to go to the States and meet Trump, if you remember that. He went with the invitation. At one of the world's biggest ever gatherings of bastards. Just skim through this very quickly then. Another quote. He said, Emily, that's his wife, and he have spent all summer thinking about this, and they prayed about it. There is no honour like an invitation from the king, and do not accept his invitation. To not accept his invitation goes against all of our instincts. But I fear we could have a situation where Donald Trump comes to our country, is honoured with a lavish dinner at one of our finest palaces, yet no one reminds him that he has the power to stop the horrifying starvation and death in Gaza and get the hostages released. No mention of the IDF withdrawing from Gaza there, Ed. There is something else to do with the Lib Dems actually coming up on the live stream. I might try and smoothly segue into that in just a moment. I will say off the top of my head, I cannot recall another occasion where a member of either the government, well, the leader, Prime Minister, or leader of an opposition party would have declined such an invitation. As I said, that is just off the top of my head. If you can think of any previous examples, please do let me know. in the chat if you're watching live, or in the comments if you're watching back on a replay. And whilst I'm on that matter, just check that you've hit the thumbs up button on the stream, people. Oh, it's gone quiet. JK, good point there. Lest we forget, they abstained on the PAL action prescription. There's other ways that they do things. So let's say that they have an even number of MPs, they will arrange it so that 50% vote for and 50% vote against. Therefore, it displays that they are being active, but at the same point, it's at the same time, it's a neutral vote. Do you know what I mean? They directly split it in half. But if it's a odd number, then there'll be one abstainee, and then the remaining will do what I've just described. You might notice that if you look back through the voting record of the Lib Dems. Is it another stunt? You know, these... excuse me. I'll finish my drink before I start a sentence. Is this another one of these stunts that I did? But it's far away from the juggling in a canoe, or, you know, on a tightrope, with balancing himself with something that's on fire or whatever. Vote for Ed Davey! Vote for the... Wow, well, check on the Tories, it's the wacky Lib Dems. Oh, the middle class are so eccentric and... Whoa, brilliant. Yeah, that is the liberal... In the UK sense, liberal. Democrats, neo-libs. Tories in disguise. I don't know if there's been any response from Trump about that, by the way. If he wanted me to take my, I don't know, best educated guess, I don't think I'd be sticking my neck out too far if I said he'd probably respond by calling Ed Davey a loser. Who is the... Never heard of this guy. Or never heard of him. Never heard of him, but he's a loser. Because at the same time, you can never have heard of someone, but then immediately go on a rant about them, what they do, and what their morals are, at the same time as not knowing them. You don't know them, but you know that they're a loser. Donald Trump method. On that note, I did mention another story about the Lib Dems. I will just show you this quickly before I get deeper into Gaza and Palestine issues. Just checking on a technical, what seems to be a technical issue in the chat. Nicola Curtin, are you having a problem with some of your messages coming through? I don't know if that could be a connection. I can see you're posting loud and clear there. Apologies, I can definitely say that I, as the sole administrator of this live stream, having no mods, that I've not timed out anybody on the chat. I believe I've never timed out anybody on a live stream. Doc, call the monkey. Oh, it's not just one, Doc. Oh no. There's a few. They have assistants. Somebody made the mistake of buying 2 boys and 2 girls, didn't they, Phil? Yeah. And now the family's extending and there's... Oh, goodness me. Call the monkey. We'll look into it. We'll look into it. But like I said, take it from me, I've not been timing out anyone. Nor have I been removing any comments. I do on occasion go through ones that have been held for review. It's very rare that happens. I'm okay with, you know, swearing being involved, but where trolls are concerned, I won't have any attempts at cyberbullying or whatever. A good witty comeback is one thing, but there are lines and boundaries. But I'm very pleased to say, as I mentioned, that's a rarity here on My Left Eye. Something else that's a rarity, he incredibly segues, is a Lib Dem gain in a London seat. Take a look at this, people. You can see in West Hampstead, which is in Camden, in a council by-election, the Lib Dems gained 15.4% of the vote, taking them up to quite an impressive 54.4%, and Labour plunging with a loss of minus 23.4% of the vote. How's about this? So a clear win there, some 33% roughly in front of Labour. I should also point out Reform and the Greens very close together there, however, around 7% of the vote each, as they both stand for the first time respectively. The Tories finally just lost a little bit more, 6.3%, which you would have to assume quite a proportion of went to Reform. But overall, as the result demonstrates, a clear shift from Labour to the Lib Dems, which doesn't happen in too many London seats. I think the concept of safe seats is long out of the window. Long out of the window. If the last election didn't prove that, especially where the Tories were concerned, the next one, especially where Labour are concerned, I think could be equally, or if not more, catastrophic. As Mobius rightly points out, though, that particular area of Camden is rather affluent, shall we say. They're fucking loaded in West Hampstead. That was just a general accent, not an impression of you, though, more. Zuki, good question, though, about the polling with your party. They have appeared in some recent polls. Actually, just whilst I'm there on Twitter, we'll take a quick look. My favourite source of polls at the moment is Stats for Lefties. Shout out and a plug for Stats for Lefties on Blue Sky on Twitter. Just while I'm here, they do regularly post national polls, and they have put out some that have included your party. And I believe at last reckoning, they were getting somewhere around 12, 14 seats. On the polls that they do put up, I think they're known as the JCP, Jeremy Corbyn party, not your party. They're not on that one. Again, sure. There's another one. Well, I guess it just follows the previous talking point. Where the map's concerned, the seat projection, this one leaves Lib Dem in second as the main opposition. And the main opposition having just 81 seats, with Labour in third on 60, dropping 351. Bloody hell.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Slightly aghast here. There have been similar projections before. It's another find out now, Paul. No mention of Jeremy Corbyn party / your party on this one, though. Let's finish on a positive note, though. It would see the Greens gaining 2 seats, although I'd be slightly disappointed with that, to be honest. Because there's really got to be a massive push by the Greens and your party at the next election. They've really got to work together, as far as I'm concerned. One socialist candidate on each ballot, and it can be done. It can be done. Let's just scroll down a bit, though. Let's see if there is any mention. Oh, here we go. This is new from just yesterday. Sorry, I've been frightfully busy. I've not checked out too many stats and polls this week, if I'm being perfectly frank with you. So 4% of the votes. Combined with the Greens, you're looking at 11%. Not a bad offering, although more has to be done to entice voters away from reform, obviously. And they should bypass Labour. The Tories and the Lib Dems. The tricolour Tories. As they do so. This poll, which is focal data, between the 15th and 19th of August, sees reform on 28%, Labour 23%, Tories 18%, Lib Dem 14%. And I just mentioned the other two, so there you go. That's the latest. On to Gaza in a moment, people. I just need to excuse myself for a very brief moment while I grab a beverage. Okay, people. Just went for a beverage there. That was not a technical error for anyone who just joined. Where were we? Andy Carter, welcome to the chat. Yeah, I'm sure they'll improve on that 4%, which is a good start. Like I said, combined with the Greens, that could be 11%. Not an insignificant portion. That doesn't fully equate to seats. We know what first past the post is like. We'll have to see. There could be some surprises, hopefully more a la 2017. I hope you're brewing well there, Andy. Thanks for representing with the tea emoji. Brilliant. I can dig that.
Can you dig it?
Now there was this video I just want to play, and then we will definitely get on to Gaza, I promise, straight after this. Definitely worth a look though. It's a recent appearance, it's been doing the rounds on social media today, so I just thought I'd share that with you on the stream. It's the new leader of the RMT, Eddie Dempsey, who fairly recently took over from Mick Lynch, of course. He's doing a fantastic job. I did actually meet him very briefly once in Manchester, back when that Enough is Enough campaign was launched. I went down there with, I was repping JSO with a few people actually, and Andy Burnham was there as well at the meeting. Good guy, Eddie Dempsey, and this is certainly a speech that's worth sharing.
We've had the market running our country and countries across the Western economies for 40 years. We've been left in Britain with our manufacturing offshored, our public services outsourced, the industrial foundations of our movement sold off, broken and destroyed. Working class communities in deindustrialised areas of Britain didn't just lose their jobs and their dignity, they lost their movement, which was built on the industrial base that was destroyed in the name of the market. It wasn't always like this. We're the movement that pulled kids out of work and put them in the classroom.
They are. I just quickly want to interrupt to point out that the way that Labour MPs used to speak and union leaders was essentially the same, indiscernible from one another. This is great stuff, and now they're totally worlds apart. Labour and the unions. That is, more of them are shifting funding away from Labour and into other parties. But you'll never hear Labour stand up and criticise the system in general, where industry is concerned.
We're the movement that pulled millions out of poverty and gave them dignity. We're the movement that pulled people out of destitution in old age and gave them pensions and gave the infirm a health service. That's what we did in the past. When my father went out to work, it was a closed shop. Everyone was in the union. If you went to work as a normal person, you could afford to live. You could buy a house. You could have a holiday. You could afford some shopping, for God's sake. Now, in this day and age, under the rule of the market, half of the welfare budget that is spent in Britain is spent on in-work benefits. That is a direct subsidy for low wages, so the corporation...
In-work benefits should not even be a phrase, really, should it? In a just society, in a functioning society that takes care of its citizens, we're not talking about people who only work a little at the weekends, let's say 8, 12, 16 hours. We're talking about people who work 40 hours plus, still needing the welfare system to help make ends meet. Well, the further down the line we get, the more welfare is stripped away. And it leaves a void. They can't fill that financial gap, however thrifty that they might be. But in-work benefits, it's almost a complete oxymoron.
who've been screwing this country for years can get higher profits. And they go on the news and they go on the telly. The commentators, the pundits, the politicians, how will the markets react? What about the bond markets, they say? Well, who elected the bond market? Not me.
Yes. Good point there, Eddie. Nobody elected the bond market. Let's just, it's free state capitalism. Let's let the common market will choose our fate. We can trust in it, the great oracle, the great healing entity that it is, but you don't get to vote for it, or who runs it, or basically who's overseeing the entire thing. A very good point there from Eddie Dempsey.
Who runs this country? Either us or the markets.
Yeah, and speaking of the markets, like you said, people don't have the money to make ends meet. Ergo, you have a stagnant economy because by a capitalist model, the money has to keep moving to stimulate said economy. There have to be people spending money in shops, in businesses, keeping that going, keeping industry going by having people in jobs, not outsourcing because it's more convenient or cheaper, like Eddie's pointing out here as well. And that speaks to all of us.
I know what I want. I want a country run for the people in it, not the markets.
Me too, Eddie. Well said. Big up Eddie Dempsey from the RMT in the chat there, people. And hit the emoji heart thing with the other emojis in it, if you like. Not sure what that does. But Graham Turner's currently sitting at the top of the top fans rankings. Let's actually see what the full scores are. That's with 500 XP. Followed by 3 viewers on 150. Morbius, Aaron and JK. And then shortly behind, Snowflake, then Heady. That's the latest scores on the doors and top fans. So Gaza first. I should say next. We're long past first. It's 11:30. Nearly. Gaza next. And this is what broke just before I came on the stream, short time earlier this evening. The United States are going to stop Palestinians from attending United Nations meetings in New York. Shameful. Talk about burying their head in the sand. It's like, you know, what, they don't even have the guts to hear what's happening, what they're responsible for anymore, so they just don't let them attend. I can't believe that. Have you ever heard the like of this? It's ridiculous.
What?
What?
Okay.
What?
What?
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Right then, let's see what's happening. Secretary of State Marco Rubio blamed Palestine for undermining peace efforts. Really? Maybe you've got the wrong country there. It's Israel. And for seeking unilateral recognition of a conjectural Palestinian state. Of course, the United States have already rejected any idea about recognising Palestine officially. Very cowardly. The ban comes as France spearheads international efforts to recognise the state of Palestine at the General Assembly session. Trump's administration has fully backed Israel in voicing opposition to such a move. Of course he has. They're the 51st state of America. Anybody who's in the United States who happens to be watching, please do share your thoughts. It's always good to hear from our socialist friends in the States. And if you underhanded tactics couldn't be more obvious, this is a very clear example. And I haven't looked through all of this yet, but where is it? Where is it? No, you're kidding me. Ah, no, there it is. Ah, it's just not in the normal. It's usually right towards the back, but for anybody who's seen the latest video on the channel, or is in fact a long time viewer, you'll know that there it is. In verbatim. Any article, it's there. As well as Hamas run. It's right there, yes again. It's like every time, isn't it?
As you can see, we're experiencing a minor technical difficulty here on my left eye. Our team of expertly trained technicians are working busily to restore the stream. In the meantime, please make sure that you've hit the thumbs up button harder than you'd like to hit Keir Starmer in the Ghoulies, and left a comment down below. Thank you.
I don't know, Phil. I can't really say to any degree of accuracy whether monkey number 4 has had the appropriate injections from the vets. But if you got too close, that's your problem. Just let me know when we're live. Don't want to get a hot mic again. Oh God, I love tea. Tea, down it goes. Into my belly. Oh, and we're back. Sorry about the slight technical glitch there. That's just about all I wanted to say about that particular article. However, I would be remiss if I didn't bring up Tony Blair's visit to the States, because apparently, out of all of the people on the planet, where the Middle East is concerned and exit strategies, Tony Blair's your top man. Oh yes. A masterful tactician. I'm being sarcastic, of course, but I'm not being sarcastic when I thank Andy Carter for celebrating 14 months of membership. Awesome stuff. Big up Andy in the chat. It's been great to have you all the way, Andy. I'll cut to the chase where this story is concerned. It's all about how to profit the most. That's why they've got Blair in. Of course, that's all that Iraq was about. You remember that very ghoulish, cringeworthy video that Trump put out, the Riviera of Gaza, or whatever it was he described it as. Something that I unfortunately cannot unsee. But that's what Trump has in mind, and he certainly thinks that Tony Blair can help him achieve it. Well, it's madness. Of course, Tony Blair's track record on war and conflict is appalling, whether it be Afghanistan, obviously, Iraq. A complete quagmire, an absolute shambles of an exit strategy. Ultimately, the entire operation was based on lies and was in fact unlawful. So the war crims are getting together. Let's see what they might be discussing. It mostly, apparently, is around the idea of sabotaging Palestine being recognised as a state. Of course, that is something that the UK is officially set to do. As the days and weeks tick by, to see if the conditions were met. But that would be contradictory to the official position. That's why I'm pointing that out. As if you couldn't dislike Tony Blair any further. And let's remind you that the Iraq invasion, as it was, cost some 2 million lives. There it is again. You can bet your fucking life savings that'll be, if you have any. That'll be in every article. But it's very vague as to what's been said. Here they talk, you know. What's this one? We're going to settle this one way or another, certainly before the end of this year. You know, settle this, sort this out. Agreeable conclusions, whatever they might say, it's all very vague at the moment. But like I said, I would have been remiss not to bring that up. I guess the last thing I'll say on that matter is fuck Tony Blair. Oh yes. Okay, let's get through some more bits now. I'm going to start to go into a few more positive aspects. We'll end on a high where the topic of Gaza and Palestine is concerned. I just need to cue something up there. I've just got another quick shout out on the channel. Yeah, I'm going to throw in a YouTube link there for Aaron Gray there. Has put a video together, so I'm going to share that with you now. Sorry, everything's just a bit slow. Oh, is it not for your video? Well, I will throw that in. Anyway, because I'm good like that. Okay, while I'm dealing with that, I'll just get onto the next bit. Of course, we're official positions, of course. Not officially, Blair isn't in government, but if you think that he and the likes of Peter deep breath. The likes of Peter M don't have their hands on the strings, you'd be a little naive, I have to say. One thing I can't say is that man's name out loud without vomiting profusely. So I will look for that link now, but before I do so, this just came out today as well. It was going to be an arms trade fair in London later this year, and the UK have blocked the Israeli government delegation. Surprisingly positive step. Defence delegation. Yeah, right. And like it's the IDF and not the IOF, which it really is. So it's known as the DSEI, and that's Global Defence Exhibition. Israel's defence minister called the move a deliberate and regrettable act of discrimination and said it would be withdrawing and not setting up a national pavilion. They just told you can't come. We're sorry, but you delegates can't come. Oh, right. Really? Well, in that case, we're not going to send the delegation. How do you like that? It's like, well, that's the whole point. That's not really a comeback or any sort of revenge. Well, we're withdrawing then. It's like, you're not withdrawing. You can't. Fucking hell. So this, I don't know, warmonger flea market, if you want to put it that way, takes place every 2 years in London's Docklands with hundreds of defence firms from all over the defence. Semi-automatic weaponry is defensive. These tanks are defensive. Defensive. That's almost like something Keith himself would say, isn't it? This is a defensive war. Defensive. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't defend your country with tanks, but I'm just talking about how they're generally implied by the main people who wield them at the moment. Especially Israel, of course. And they also say the decision introduces political considerations wholly inappropriate for a professional defence industry exhibition. The thing is, you get enough as it is. Now, bearing in mind, there's still a lack of a full trade embargo and full sanctions on Israel. This is a bit of a drop in the ocean. It is a positive move. Yeah, but there it is again. Cha-ching. In case it needed mention again, of course, the UK also share intelligence with Israel, and there are continuing spy runs made by the RAF from Greek air bases and so on. So it's mostly a gesture. It's gesticulation. What's this other link that you're trying to share in the chat, Aaron, by the way? And while we're on the matter, actually, yeah, feel free to send me an updated link for your new draft. So, has to be cracking on. Another positive, I'm pleased to say.
As you can see, we're experiencing a minor technical difficulty here on...
No, we're not. Don't worry, don't worry. No, keep the cage locked. Seriously? Okay, good. Oh my god. Phew. A country that has actually cut all trade with Israel is Turkey. And they made this announcement earlier, so...
In terms of sanctions, there is no other state in the world which has taken more advanced steps than Turkey. We have carried out many multilateral measures. We halted our trade with Israel. We closed our ports to Israeli vessels. And we did not allow Turkish ships to go to Israeli ports. There is no other country which has completely stopped its trade with Israel. Container ships which carry weapons to Israel are not allowed in our ports or flights in our airspace. Since the first day, we have used the means and capabilities of our state in order to deliver comprehensive humanitarian aid to Gaza. Since October 7, in terms of the in-kind and in-cash aid, we are one of the leading countries in the world. Our total aid has exceeded 100,000 tons. In bringing our aid to Gaza, Afad and Kızılay have made great efforts.
So there you have it. Let's hope that more countries follow. I'd like to see my own country, of course. They're doing the same as Turkey have. Because without the backing of other countries, there'd be nothing. I'm going to share a good testimony now from someone who might be a familiar face. Miriam Margolis. Well, she does explain her age in the video, who's in her 80s now, but has continually been outspoken about Israel's actions in Gaza and Palestine. So shout out, probably in terms of a career as well, most famous for one of the roles in Blackadder, one of those classic roles in British comedy, amongst many other things as well. Very talented lady. So let's hear from Miriam.
What is your current big issue?
Gaza. I feel it particularly because I'm Jewish, because I know how much wickedness and cruelty were meted out to Jews in my lifetime.
Sorry to pause. I should have pre-warned. It's pretty strong at the end, but it's a strong message. What a final point is, and the way that she chooses to put it across. However, it is somewhat undeniable. You can't really argue against what she's about to say here, referring to things that took place during her lifetime, which is about to point out here.
I was born in 1941 at the height of the Holocaust, and I cannot bear to think that my people are doing exactly the same thing to another nation. And the nation that they're doing it to, the Palestinian nation, was not responsible for the Holocaust, had nothing to do with it. That was a purely European pleasure. And so my heart is broken, and I think the terrible thing I have to face is that Hitler won. He changed us. He made us like him.
And that's from a Big Issue interview, I think. So well done, Miriam, for pointing that out. Like I said, a bit strong at the end, but it's undeniable. It's undeniable. Sickening and ironic echoes of the past in Israel's actions. So well done. And I've played this clip before, but just another reminder of the latest and as yet the biggest by far Freedom Flotilla will be setting off from Spain. I believe this one's setting off from Barcelona, or the main bulk of the flotilla, that is. Others will join on the way as they cross the Mediterranean Sea in order to attempt to deliver aid directly to Gazans. So let's just get a reminder about why this fantastic endeavour is setting sail, I should say, in less than 2 days.
We are working so hard to prepare everything to set sail to Gaza, to break the siege and to create a people's humanitarian corridor on the biggest mission ever attempted since this horrific siege was established 18 years ago, and on the moment that is the most critical moment for Palestinian history. So we need you. We need to mobilize everyone right now. Hello everyone, I'm Thiago Avila, an internationalist communicator and social environmentalist from Brazil, from the Global South. I'm also from the steering committee of the Global Sumud Flotilla, this initiative that is getting people that you know from previous boat missions to break the siege, but also the global movement to Gaza, also the Sumud Convoy, Sumud Nusantara. We are all together in over 44 countries, mobilizing not only for the boat missions, but also for many mobilizations, because we know that the time to act is now. The situation in Gaza is getting worse and worse by the day. The full invasion of Gaza City, despite the disgust of the people in the world, but so far we have been unable to stop the genocide, the ethnic cleansing, the Zionist horrific war machine. So we need to intensify our efforts. We have so many people here working so hard. On the 31st, we're departing from here, from Barcelona, with dozens of boats, and we're joining the dozens of boats that are leaving from Tunisia and other countries as well, and we're sailing together on this mission. It's been so wonderful to work with that many people, so dedicated to the Palestinian cause, so aware that it's not about any of us, that it's about a historical moment that, like other moments, other generations defeated apartheid in South Africa, defeated Nazism, defeated fascism. It's our turn to stop Zionism and imperialism. We cannot see anymore people being starved to death. We cannot see bombing of hospitals, schools, shelters, the whole destruction of Gaza City right now. The last place that is left in Gaza. We cannot allow that. We need to do everything we can. We've seen the request, the pledge from the people of Gaza. We need to do that. Now is the time to do everything we can. And it's been so beautiful to see people dedicated to mobilize. The people were saying, who would go on a mission like that? Because the risks are so high, and they are high. But 28,000 people apply to this because people know it's the right time. It's necessary to go. And people know that this is the decisive moment, it's the critical moment. So please, spread the word. Help us to build up on this. Help us to put the biggest pressure on the governments who are complicit, to break relations with Israel, to mobilize, to echo the voices of the Palestinian people. This is the moment that we put all of our efforts. We need to do this right now. And we are so, so close. Every day here we have beautiful news of the mobilization getting fruits, and things will work out. Just don't stop working. Don't despair. Channel your anger, your dignified anger into work. And let's do this together.
Yeah, we might be getting increasingly further away from the flotilla itself, but we will of course wish them all well. Personally, I believe this flotilla should be accompanied by the British Navy as well as other countries' official navies, and a full international escort effort to be arranged. And let's see the IDF try and take on our boys and see how that works out. Perhaps just as a signal. It's so frustrating. It's when you look at the scale of it, the scale of how much is sitting at the border, and in terms of logistics, you are talking about getting a square yardage of goods simply across a line, a geographical imaginary line, of course, because there are no lines. It's Palestine. Oh, that's a good Palestine. Should have no lines, no border lines. Borderlines, Palestine. We've got a few wordsmiths in the chat, I can see. Have a muck about with that one and see what you can come up with. Borderlines and Palestine. But my point was, it's just so frustrating that it has such a relatively small distance to travel. We look at the size of our planets, and the so-called political powers that be cannot shift this very small and, again, relatively insignificant, but to the Palestinians very significant square yardage of goods, water, medical aid, food, even basic foodstuffs such as rice, grains, flour. What's a bag of flour cost in Palestine at the moment? Going on $50 US. That's revolting. It's sick. It's being done on purpose by absolute ghouls, the filthiest bastards that you will ever encounter on the planet, that you can let this happen to 2 million people.
You dirty fecker.
Which makes you a murderer, don't it?
Mini rant's over. And also that's where we'll leave the wordplay. Also, noticed a lack of people asking whatever happened to the Brews at 10, the album, for example. No, it's okay. Some features do come and go on the channel. Well, that's good. Like to keep fresh things, and there will be new stuff to come. Had to stop doing the Trump and Musk's batshit crazy corner, of course. Not only because it's a bit of a mouthful, but Elon Musk is no longer in the game. He's not playing dodgeball anymore. Stick around, people. We're getting towards the end of the stream, but we'll give the members another shout out, of course. thanks for all of your support, everybody. As I do so, I'll check for a raid. So hang around. I'll be joining you on whatever raid we're going to for a little while. It's worth hanging around for. How much of a night owl you might be. That will be it from the Brews at 10. But we might have some somebody stateside this time of night. Only one offering, which is Al Jazeera Live, so no YouTube. Well, this sort of socialist YouTuber, whatever channel, but we'll raid into there. Thanks a lot, everybody, for all of your support. Thanks for joining me on tonight's stream. Final plug for the latest content on the channel. Please do check out that recent video about the channel's letter to the BBC. Smash buttons and all of that business. I'll be back on Sunday for the Sunday live stream. Enjoy your weekend, people. Free Palestine, power to the people. My left eye will be seeing you soon.
Socialists